Today on Not Sam Wrestling, we go over the who, where, what, why, and when of exactly how we're supposed to believe that Cody Rhodes walked out of a ring on SmackDown and gave his WrestleMania main event to The Rock. The hell is happening? This is Not Sam Wrestling. What a time! Just trying to keep up with everything here. Welcome to Not Sam Wrestling, and I mean, who knows what on earth is going to happen next? Remember when Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble? What if I told you that was a week ago? It was all good just a week ago. He literally pointed to Roman Reigns in a skybox. You guys remember that? Or no? Feels like it was a year ago at this point. Wow. Here we are, and we've got a lot to talk about. Thank you, everybody that tuned into the emergency podcast that was dropped late Friday night after SmackDown. I thought it was necessary. I guess a lot of you guys also just needed some comfort. It was meant to act as an emotional support podcast, and I hope that it did, as I hope today's will as well. We're going to kind of unpack a lot of this stuff and work through our feelings together. What we can't allow is for our feelings to get the better of us and for us to react to things that A, haven't happened yet, or B, might be a slight overreaction. It happens. But there's a lot of wild speculation in this world that we're living in, and it is based on people watching the product. So what better place to cover it than Not Sam Wrestling? Speaking of Not Sam Wrestling, before I get fully engrossed in all this, don't forget that Wednesday before WrestleMania, you know, that show where the main event, well, we'll talk about it. April 3rd is the Wednesday before WrestleMania, and I'll be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Helium Comedy Club doing a live Not Sam Wrestling podcast. Of course, the last live show, you can see the video from the Rhea Ripley portion of the show, but we had Rhea Ripley, we had Samantha Irvin, Tommy Dreamer, Gerald Briscoe, DJ Who Kid. Who knows who's going to show up to these live shows. Hopefully you. Go to notsam.com. You can click on the tickets link, and I'll be at the Helium Comedy Club at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, April 3rd in Philadelphia. That's the Wednesday before WrestleMania. But hopefully by the time we get there, we'll have figured out what exactly is happening at WrestleMania. So let's talk about, because I want to try to put everything into context as we try to work out what is going on. I don't remember a time. I mean, I took phone calls from multiple people that are fairly high-profile-ish, or at least high-profile adjacent. That was just, and it wasn't business. It wasn't, hey, come do the show. It wasn't, it was just, Sam, make sense of this for me. What, can you make this make sense? And I said, that's a big question. That's a big question. Today, right now, short term, no, but let's talk about it together. And I'm sure a lot of you are in the same boat because people are furious. People are very angry. TMZ is reporting on it. People are so angry. I saw one guy, Cody Rhodes, sent his cousin tickets to WrestleMania because he said his cousin was, I don't know, something was going on with his cousin. And then the next thing I know, he's posting a tweet of himself in a Rock mask. And he said, well, I'd like The Rock to go to WrestleMania. And the internet came for him. It's not safe right now to go out there on the internet and say that you'd like to see Roman Reigns versus The Rock. It's not a safe thing. And I understand. People are upset. People are heavily invested. This is what you can't understate, okay? That 2 years ago, Cody Rhodes returned to the WWE. And not too long into that return, the story was foretold. And it was the story of Cody talking about his father, Dusty, who, by the way, Dusty's beloved. The WWE spent all this time raising the stock of Dusty Rhodes. When we lost Dusty Rhodes, the WWE made sure, maybe more so than just about any other passed away superstar, that the audience became informed of how important Dusty Rhodes was. There are few people, I don't know if I could name any, the modern day superstars speak more highly of than Dusty Rhodes. So with that as the foundation for Cody's story, which is this: Dusty never held the WWE Championship. There was one night he won a match via count out, and he got to hold up the WWE Championship in Madison Square Garden, but he didn't win it because it was a count out victory, and that's as close as he ever came, and that's the story that I'm here to finish. And it was in the build to WrestleMania. The one-winged angel ascended down to hell, beat Seth Rollins, had to go out, come back, wins the Royal Rumble, goes to WrestleMania, loses. People can't believe he lost. But slowly but surely, they dealt with it. They managed, and he lost no steam. Matter of fact, he gained steam. He became more popular as the last year went on. And he beat Brock Lesnar 3 times. And he won the tag team championship with Jey Uso at one point. And he brought Jey Uso to Monday Night Raw. And he had a rivalry with the Judgment Day. He helped raise the profile of Shinsuke Nakamura as a top-tier villain. And there was one SmackDown where he went face-to-face with Roman Reigns, and people smelled it again, and they realized that's the story that they wanted. And he went to the Royal Rumble. And he went in with a lot of doubters, myself included, of people saying, no, CM Punk's going to win the Royal Rumble. And even if he's not going to face Roman Reigns, it's just not going to be Cody's night. And it went on last, and it was Cody's night. And Cody won the Royal Rumble. And when he won the Royal Rumble, I believe he did point to the WrestleMania sign, but more specifically, he pointed past the WrestleMania sign directly to the skybox that Roman Reigns was sitting in. And it felt like after almost 2 years of investment, many WWE fans were going to get what they bought into. People who bought tickets to see Cody Rhodes in main events of live events. People who bought egads and egads of merchandise, t-shirts, action figures, stuffed versions of his dog. And then we get to Monday Night Raw. Let's go over the last week or so. We get to Monday Night Raw, and we find out that CM Punk is hurt. And I bring this up not only to create context for the storytelling that we're dealing with, but to create context for the reality in which we're living. CM Punk announces that he's hurt, and he comes out and he delivers his promo. We did an emergency podcast about it. And Drew McIntyre comes out, and he says that this was something that he had prayed for. He's not normally a spiritual man, but this was something that he had prayed for. CM Punk can't believe it. He's so insulted. Drew McIntyre takes an odd pride in the fact that he said such a heinous thing. And Drew starts to physically attack CM Punk. CM Punk tries to fight back, isn't able to. Drew McIntyre takes out CM Punk. The key here is that Drew is now more popular as a villain than ever, meaning he's not getting cheered, but he's a villain that people want to see more than ever. He's in that rare air of people who you will buy a ticket because you want to see them lose in the best possible way. Drew McIntyre, in that night, removed all doubt and cemented himself as a top-tier villain in 2024. And he drove this home all week by making changing his Twitter banner picture to when, he was mocking CM Punk. He posted a workout video of him doing a tricep workout, specifically to talk about how important the tricep muscle is, the very muscle that CM Punk tore. And what we got was, even though we lost CM Punk from WrestleMania, and in the short term, CM Punk is removed from these plans, and it's a devastating loss. In his absence, stock is given to Drew McIntyre. A bad situation is made through no fault of anyone's, and instead of just taking the L, they use the L to create a minor W. They use the loss to make Drew McIntyre an even bigger villain. And it works. And it's perfect. Later on that same episode of Monday Night Raw, Cody comes out to talk about winning the Royal Rumble and which champion he may choose to go to WrestleMania to face, because believe it or not, traditionally, and as we were told, this is what happens when somebody wins the Royal Rumble. They face the champion at WrestleMania. And Seth Rollins comes out. And at first people go, no, come on, no. But Seth makes the hard pitch for Cody to pick him to be his WrestleMania opponent, more specifically, the title that Seth holds. It's not about the fact that Cody has beaten Seth Rollins 3 times. It's about the fact that since losing to Cody 3 times, Seth Rollins has become the World Heavyweight Champion. And in that time, he has taken that title and he has turned it into something much bigger. He's turned it into something that he wanted, that he felt the show needed. He's turned it into what he thinks is Dusty's title, is Cody's dad's title. He's turned it into a workhorse title. He's turned it into a title that goes to whoever the best wrestler is on the show. He looks at Cody and he reminds him of all the live events that Cody was on. And he asks Cody, who was the man defending the world title on all of those live events? Who's the guy making towns? Who's the guy who's going everywhere, making sure that a world champion is defending a title for WWE fans to see? Who is that guy that's defending that title? And what title is it that he's defending? He calls Roman's title the Hollywood title and goes, I get it. I get it. I get what the history is. But look at what Roman has turned that title into. Look at what Roman has made that title. What does it mean anymore? Is that what you want? You want to prove that you can win the Hollywood title? You want to prove that you can win the title that gets defended 4 times a year? Or do you want to prove that you can win the workhorse title? You want to prove that you really are the best in this ring, because I can tell you which one your dad would want to. And all of a sudden, even though we know that Seth's title is not the story, quote unquote, and even though we know that when we're looking at who's the top tier person on the roster, it's Roman Reigns. It's not Seth Rollins. And Roman Reigns is the only person that's beaten Cody Rhodes. The only person since he came back to WWE. Roman Reigns is the guy that handed Cody that loss. That's the one that he's got to avenge. But still, somehow Seth Rollins delivered the promo that I think most of us have been waiting for him to deliver ever since he became the champion. Maybe even before he was champion. It was the babyface promo that we've been waiting for from Seth Rollins, and we got it. And it all of a sudden became a thing where at least there would be some logic. That if Cody were to pick Seth, you would understand that there was a logic to it and there was a history to it. And why Cody decided, maybe I'm going to put the story on hold and I'm going to go after that title. Brilliant. I thought it was a brilliant segment and just created the right kind of conversation. The same way I thought the CM Punk Drew McIntyre segment was a brilliant segment. And then we go to SmackDown. And SmackDown has a segment that I thought was a brilliant segment that revolves around the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And that segment was Bayley picking her WrestleMania opponent. After winning the Royal Rumble, Bayley deciding to choose who she was going to face for the title at WrestleMania. And it had been said, Bayley had said before, the whole plan here is to go to WrestleMania and to face Rhea Ripley. That was it, and I'm gonna make it so the Damage Control is dripping with gold from head to toe. That was the plan. And she goes to the ring, and she gets in the ring, and she's talking. And Io and Kyrie and Asuka are all behind her. And all of a sudden, Bayley turns around and starts speaking Japanese. And the crowd gasps. And the smile is removed from Asuka, Kyrie, and Io. Because Bayley, I thought going into this segment that Bayley was going to pick Rhea Ripley and that we'd eventually get to the point where she's just switched. I said, how can you get from Bayley trying to save Damage Control in the Rumble match? She's so on board with the cause that she spent a good chunk of that Women's Rumble match trying to save the other members of Damage Control from getting eliminated. How do you go from there to 6 days later, she wants to face one of the members of Damage Control? Well, the reason is she knows Japanese, and most importantly, even more important than the Japanese, Bayley saw what we saw. That's why I believe Bayley got that monstrous ovation. That's why I believe the fans all cheered simultaneously. It's not just because, I mean, part of it is because it's Bayley. And we've all been on this journey with Bayley. And we've all seen her over the last several years. And the fact that while she's part of the original Four Horsewomen, she hasn't quite ever gotten that fair shake. And I mean, it's all there. The foundation is all there. And anybody that's been watching WWE for any length of time has built up some kind of affinity for Bayley, even if it's the pandemic stuff, where there was a period of time where Bayley was one of the top performers during the pandemic era just because she was so well-versed, so multifaceted. Wrestling matches, doing her talk show, whatever it was. But Bayley saw what we saw. You'd have to be blind to not see all the seeds that were planted and the fact that Damage Control clearly did not have Bayley's back. To an extent, they were bullying Bayley. Ever since Kyrie decided to quote-unquote forgive Bayley for attacking her and thinking that she was going to end her WWE career, Bayley has been in forgiveness mode, and Damage Control was taking advantage of that. And we all, as viewers, saw that. And when we find out that Bayley saw it, well, now all of a sudden, it's a worthwhile investment that we've made. There's an acknowledgement that, yes, it is valuable for you to pay attention to this kind of detail. Yes, you should pay attention to stories because we're paying attention to stories. Because we're not pretending that these characters are idiots. There's no reason why if you see all these clues and Bayley is there when you're seeing all of them, that character wouldn't see them as well. So now all of a sudden, we should be following this the way we follow it because the payoff is there. The payoff was right there. And I bring all this up to say that theoretically, the same people responsible for all of these stories in a very short period of time. We're talking less than a week. We're talking 5 days. We're talking 2 television shows. All of the people responsible for those stories were the same people, theoretically, unless it was put into somebody else's hands, but it was on the same show, responsible for the final segment of SmackDown. That the 9 p.m., the first hour going into the second hour segment of SmackDown with Bayley and Damage Control was brilliant. The CM Punk segment with Drew McIntyre, the Cody Rhodes segment with Seth, brilliant, brilliant. And all appear to be getting done what they should be getting done in a way that makes sense, in a way that doesn't insult us, in a way that makes us want to keep watching the show. When stories work, when stories make sense, when you have those moments like, oh, that's why that happened, it makes you want to watch more. It makes you want to invest more in the product because you don't feel like your intelligence is being insulted. While all this is going on, the announcement is made a couple days before SmackDown that Cody Rhodes will be on SmackDown and he will confront Roman Reigns. He will, talk about WrestleMania. And then on the day of SmackDown, graphic goes up on WWE's Twitter account that says Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns will meet face-to-face. There was no running from this. Throughout the episode of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes entered the building at 3:15 in the afternoon. The clock is running on all of these. Cody Rhodes got an entry. Ooh, I'm going to stick around because Cody's coming. There's an acknowledgement there. Fans want to see Cody and will stick around. Halfway through the show, Cody's on his bus petting his dog. Why are we showing Cody petting his dog? Because we like Cody, we like his dog. And we're going to keep watching if we know Cody's coming out. There's an acknowledgement there that Cody is the type of performer that makes it so just the fact that he's on the show is going to excite people. Roman Reigns comes out. And the first thing Roman Reigns comes out at the end of the show is he comes out and he gets a microphone and he delivers a promo. And he absolutely dismantles, buries, roasts however you want to say it, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins. Nobody reacts to it when he says his name. And Roman Reigns goes, exactly, no pop. And I mean, look, as far as like hideous insults, it was top tier. And I like it. I like it when people are taking shots at each other. So I was like, whoa, here we go. Here we go. And he just runs down Seth and his title. Calls Seth a loser. Calls his title the Losers Championship. Second rate. I'm not going to beg you, Cody. He says, I'm not going to beg you to face me. But if you want to fight for the second rate title, then go ahead. I mean, buries him. Buries Seth Rollins and the title. Okay? It's important. It's key here. Cody's music comes out. Cody's music plays. Cody comes out. He's signing stuff for the kids. Go to commercial break. You know why? Because Cody's coming out. And that is such a big deal. We know how much you guys love Cody. That's what they're saying. We know how much you love Cody. They were saying it all night long on SmackDown. We are very well aware how much you love Cody. If we didn't know how much you loved Cody, we wouldn't have told you what time he got to the building. We wouldn't have shown you when he pet his dog. We certainly wouldn't go to commercial break before he makes his way out to the ring. But we know you love Cody. So you'll keep watching because you love him so much. And then Cody gets to the ring and he specifically says that Roman's title is the title that he wants. He specifically says that Roman's title is the one that Bruno held. He says that. And then he says, the story is not just me taking your title. Maybe, what if the story is me taking everything? You said that that announce table is yours. You said that the ring is yours. The ropes are yours. You said everything is yours. You said these fans are yours. These people you said belong to you. So what if the story is me taking everything? Well, now there's a larger acknowledgement. What you haven't done is made it seem like the story is less about Roman Reigns and just more about Cody and the title. As a matter of fact, you've actually made it seem like the story is more about Roman Reigns as well as the title. But like, effort is literally made here to, at least from Roman's perspective, discredit Seth's championship. And from Cody's perspective, make it clear that as part of his story, he specifically wants Roman Reigns' title, and he wants to beat Roman for it. He wants to take away everything Roman has. Now, look, maybe there's a way you could beat somebody else, and it takes away everything that Roman has, but he wants to take everything that Roman has. Okay? So it's even more about Roman than it was before. Then he goes, that he talked to a lot of people, and one of the people that he reached out for counsel, he talked to legends. And then The Rock's music hits. And everybody's like, what? And the place goes nuts. Of course, they cheer like crazy. And then Rock and Cody embrace with their hands, and then they hug each other. And Rock whispers something in Cody's ear. And I don't know what he whispered. Maybe we'll never know what Rock whispered in Cody's ear. Maybe it was, you can check your story down. There's a motel. Might be a hotel at this point. It's right on the corner of Know Your Old Boulevard and Jabroni Drive. If you want, you could take your story. I think you might be able to turn that sumbitch sideways. Yeah, I think you might know the rest. Anyway, hit the bricks, kid. And Cody leaves the ring. Cody did not have to leave the ring. Cody could have stayed in a corner. All that was going to happen here is The Rock and Roman were going to face off. You could have Cody not leave the ring and just have Rock and Roman face off and still center in tight on Rock and Roman. You can get a camera shot that is tight of just The Rock and Roman Reigns without Cody leaving the ring. But Cody not only left the ring, but the camera followed him as he left. Cody at first was smiling and then looked not thrilled, not terribly happy, kind of sad about the whole thing. But the camera followed him out. The camera walked with him down the aisle. WWE does not film things by mistake. They don't shoot things like that by accident. There's only one potential outcome for filming Cody as he walked away. Just one. Sympathy. The only thing you get from filming Cody leaving the ring and walking down the aisle when you know that the fans are excited to see him, and the reason that we know that you know that fans are excited to see him is because you showed him on television all night long. And you don't do that for people that fans aren't excited to see. So just based on watching the show, because we watch the product here, you know fans are excited to see him. You know fans won't want to see him leave, even if The Rock is there. Fans don't want to see Cody just walk away. They've been waiting for this moment with The Rock, with Roman Reigns. But you shot him leaving. If you didn't want sympathy for Cody, you wouldn't have built him up all night, and you wouldn't have shot him leaving. I can't believe, and I don't know, and maybe I'm being naive, and maybe I'm being too optimistic. Maybe I'm giving people too much credit. But I simply can't believe, especially based on the fact that every other story that we've been told this week has been told well. I cannot believe that all of that was done without the awareness of what effect it would have on the audience. Now, it's very possible they didn't realize how severe it would be. It's very possible if they thought people will be upset, but they'll be excited once they realize it's Roman Rock and they'll forget about it. I mean, I doubt that it was that far. They probably did not realize that they wouldn't be able to post anything on social without people saying, we want Cody. I don't know if they knew they would start a full-on movement. Don't know. But I do know that they couldn't have thought Cody fans would be happy. And I do know that they know that there's a lot of Cody fans because they get the merch reports. They know. They know how many shirts the guy sells. And you don't sell shirts if you're not popular. If you're not popular, nobody wants to put your name on a t-shirt. So then we have The Rock and Roman Reigns staring down. They're in a ring together for the first time. It's amazing. And we get a graphic comes up that says there's a press event Thursday in Las Vegas for WrestleMania. They're calling it the WrestleMania kickoff, which is confusing because if you look at the graphic the wrong way and you see that it says Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Rhea Ripley, and then on the other side, Bianca Belair, Cody Rhodes, and The Rock at the WrestleMania kickoff, you go, so we're doing a 6-person mixed tag on the pre-show? No. Kickoff is a press event, and the reason it's called the kickoff and the reason it's happening in Las Vegas is because it's Super Bowl week. It's brilliant. People, why is this happening in Vegas? Why is this happening this week? Why is it called kickoff? It's Super Bowl week. Super Bowl's in Vegas. Every major media outlet is already there, and they're going to go see it. So what the hell is going on then? If all of the things that I just said are true, and all of them are true, I don't see how you could argue anything that I've said so far. What is going on? Because I continue to look at this stuff, right? And the next morning, Saturday morning, WWE's YouTube channel is streaming live a Cody Rhodes marathon. There's like a 4-hour best of Cody Rhodes matches that WWE's YouTube channel is streaming. I would imagine if they didn't want people talking about Cody Rhodes because he wasn't going to WrestleMania, they would have shut that stream down. They would have said, you know what, let's not stream the best of Cody Rhodes after all. I mean, maybe before that, they would have said, let's not have Cody Rhodes point to Roman Reigns in the skybox. You know, that might have been where we started, but since we missed that one, let's not do this. I don't think that the problem here, and we'll look at more of the conspiracy and the aftermath and everything in a second. I don't think that the problem here is that The Rock versus Roman Reigns is happening at WrestleMania. That match, I don't think that the problem here is that The Rock is coming back. You know, I think that The Rock coming back for a match at WrestleMania is something fans have wanted for a very long time. It's something I want to see. The Rock versus Roman Reigns is the biggest match you can do. And it's a story that is, some could say 3.5 years in the making because of the bloodline. Some could go back as far as 2015, 2016 to the Royal Rumble. And The Rock being confused as to why people are booing his cousin even though he's raising his arm in the air. You can go back as far as you want. This story is deep in the making. And since Roman started calling himself the head of the table, The Rock's name has been a name that's come up. So the match is not the issue. The journey is the issue. How we're getting there potentially is the issue. This is the other thing I must point out, that as of today, as of right now, when this podcast is dropping, nothing's actually been announced. A lot is being assumed. There's already gambling odds for a match that has not been announced. Nobody has said this match is happening. All they've said is there's a press event. There was a face-off between the two. Rock called him out a few weeks ago. He said he wanted to sit at the head of the table. I sincerely doubt that The Rock would have said that if this wasn't already planned to be happening. And there's the press event. That's it. A stare down and a press event. And the rest of this stuff is just stuff that we've been connecting the dots with. Whether it's, it's going to be Roman and Seth, it's going to be Roman and Rock, it's going to be Seth and Cody, it's going to be, all of that is conjecture, all of that is stuff we're reading on the internet, and I've read crazy stuff on the internet. None of it is actually confirmed, to the point where we can actually discuss it on this show in a responsible way. I would imagine we're going to get Rock versus Roman Reigns. I'm not saying we're not getting the match. I'm just saying we don't know yet for sure. Now, that said, so far, the problem has lied within the methodology. The problem has lied within how do we get there. The problem is not it's Rock versus Roman Reigns. The problem is that up until Friday, you made us believe that we were getting Rock versus Cody. If Cody had been eliminated, let's say this. If Cody had been eliminated from the Royal Rumble by Gunther at number 25, so it's not even like final two. If Gunther had eliminated Cody, right? And people are like, I can't believe this. And whatever. We can then have Punk win, and Punk still gets injured, so he ends up getting taken off WrestleMania anyway. But we can do that. Or The Rock can come out after Cody Rhodes got eliminated and win the thing, if you want. But if you want to avoid The Rock getting booed at the Rumble, I'd probably just have CM Punk win the thing. But regardless, then you could do, okay, well, Punk's going to get injured, so Punk was going to wrestle Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. But now since Punk is injured, Drew is going to step in and steal Punk's WrestleMania main event and his title match. Honestly, Seth's match should be with Drew at WrestleMania at this point. Because Drew is wanting to take everything away from CM Punk, because Drew is not necessarily attached right now to needing the WWE Championship or Roman Reigns or whatever, Drew and Seth should probably be the World Heavyweight title match at WrestleMania. But you could have done Drew versus Seth, Rock versus Roman, Cody versus Gunther, if you wanted to. And maybe, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen at this point? But I think that that's where kind of the raging comes from, is that if nobody can make sense of why this happened the way it happened, I think they will be able to. I've got to believe that the plan is to make it make sense. Nothing in the last year and a half has just been done without it making some kind of sense. You've had theories develop all over the place. Some people are saying that The Rock forced this. This is a move that as soon as he took over the TKO board of directors, he forced it. He went in there and he forced it. And not only did he force it, but he's going to win. He's going to force himself a victory because now he's got more power than Hunter, they say. Okay, well, if that's the case, why did he tease it before he was a member of the board of directors? Don't know. They say, CM Punk was supposed to win the Royal Rumble, and they called an audible because Punk got injured, and that's what screwed everything up. I don't believe that for a second. All the camera was set up perfectly. All the pyro was set up perfectly. Cody's t-shirt was printed. Yeah, I can't imagine that Cody was ever not going to win that Royal Rumble, at least when it was being talked about seriously. They say, we're just doing this to eliminate bad headlines. They say, Brian Gewirtz is coming in, and he's going to be there the whole time, and he might be a backup to, he might take over for Triple H. They're saying all kinds of stuff, and all of that's fine, because we're speculating wildly, and I don't mind when speculation happens in a wild fashion. That's something that we encourage here at Not Sam Wrestling. But what we can't do is speak about any of that as if it's fact, because all of it is just stuff. And if you really analyze most of those theories, you can kind of wind them back down to the morsel of truth to where it starts and realize that it just starts spinning out of control. The Rock's interruption became one of their most, their most disliked video ever. So here's the thing, too. This goes back to what was the intention here, because that video was already the most disliked video they ever had. And after, they kept uploading more stuff from that SmackDown. It was getting tons of views. It was getting tons of dislikes. And they weren't like, oh my God, this is terrible, it's getting tons of dislikes. Instead, they went, oh, yeah, obviously, here's more videos from the same segment. After all the backlash was happening, The Rock started posting viewer responses to his comeback. They're not running away from this. Nothing about the social media activity of WWE or The Rock would indicate that they're running away from this. I mean, the memes have been nonstop. And, of course, other people have been, the We Want Cody movement started. Logan Paul voiced, it was really funny, too. Logan Paul voiced support for the We Want Cody movement. And people were like, oh, that's because he has beef with The Rock from before. Or he's just trying to figure out a way where he can get himself a match with The Rock. Maybe. I don't know. Oh, no. Maybe it's because he has a deep personal issue. Or he realizes he can make a whole bunch of money if he has a match with The Rock. And get in every newspaper anywhere. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. So, and then on Sunday at a live event, or Saturday or Sunday, whatever, I don't know. I think the video was posted on Sunday. Cody Rhodes gets jumped by Shinsuke Nakamura backstage at a live event, which I'm laughing because it's like, it's leading people to believe that we thought we were getting them to finish the story. Now we're getting more Shinsuke and Cody. And so we're getting a bull rope match, I guess, on Monday Night Raw, which, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Cody will just go out there and kill Shinsuke and cut a promo or something like that. Cody is booked to be at the press conference. I think that based on all of this, based on everything, as we look at all of it and kind of break it all down, realistically, I can't buy that this reaction wasn't in some way, shape, or form predicted. I'm simply not buying right now, and I could be wrong. But I don't see it going where they're just like, yep, Cody won the Royal Rumble, but he's just going to give up his match, and then we're just going to move on. I don't believe that that's going to happen. I don't believe that they're just going to move on. When I say, I said online, let him cook, because that's been a motto of this show. Let him cook. And there were some people that were mad about that. They were like, yeah, we were letting him cook, but it's raw. Yes, it's raw. It needs to be cooked. It tastes like shit. That's because it's not cooked. Let it cook. If you let them prepare the food, what difference does it make what the ingredients are? Let them prepare it. Okay? Let's not forget. We still got, 9 weeks to go until WrestleMania? 9 weeks, something like that? I mean, to believe that the story of Cody and The Rock and Roman Reigns is now completed, we're just going to move on. Maybe crazier things have happened in the WWE, but that's not what I see happening. I see myself turning on Monday Night Raw, turning on the Thursday press conference, turning on SmackDown, and getting answers to this as we go. There's been no announcement. Even at WrestleMania 8, when, there was Ric Flair wins the Royal Rumble because the title was vacated, and then they had to hold a press conference to announce his opponent. They at least announced in advance, we're going to announce Ric Flair's opponent at this press conference. They haven't even said that. All they've said is there's a press event, and here's who's going to be there. It's going to be about WrestleMania. That's it. The rest is jumping to conclusions a little bit. I mean, I'm willing to maintain a wait and see attitude right now. Not wait and see for months, but at least more than the weekend, I mean, and I'm cool with people being upset about it. I get it. It's crazy. It's crazy what we saw on SmackDown. But to declaratively insist that this is what has happened, I can't fully get behind that yet. It'd be tough for me to believe that the move is to do Cody versus Seth Rollins. Because if we are going with Cody versus Seth Rollins, then you're going to have to explain, and maybe you will, but you're going to have to explain, why did you bury Seth Rollins on Friday? If the move is to do Cody and Seth, don't bury Seth in the same segment where Cody says he's not going to finish the story at WrestleMania. He said just not at WrestleMania. Why isn't he going to finish the story at WrestleMania? Because it can't be, because here's where it stands. He said, I was asking people for advice, and The Rock came out, I'm not going to do it at WrestleMania. So where it stands right now, based on everything that we've seen, only from SmackDown, is that Cody won the Royal Rumble. He decided he wanted to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He went to The Rock for advice. The Rock said, here's my advice. Don't face Roman at WrestleMania. I'll face Roman at WrestleMania. And Cody said, okay, I'm going to take that advice. That story makes no sense. And I understand why people would be going, they've lost their mind. This doesn't make any sense. But maybe that's not the story. Maybe that's just what we're taking away from SmackDown because we haven't been told everything yet because Cody left before he got a chance to explain it, because The Rock and Roman Reigns just stared each other down before they got a chance to talk about what was happening. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I mean, who knows? What if WWE has Okada? What if Cody says the reason that I did this, I did that was because at WrestleMania, I want to do something that's never been done before. At WrestleMania, I want to have a match that people talk about forever. At WrestleMania, I want to have a match with global implications. At WrestleMania, I want to have the first WWE match with Okada. And Okada comes out at that press conference. Is there a way to say, from Cody's perspective, that he wanted to have this Okada match on the grandest stage of them all? And maybe in that same breath go, Roman, you're next. But at WrestleMania, my choice is Okada. And maybe he says, I talked to WWE officials about using my Royal Rumble ticket to, instead of going after a champion, go after Okada. I don't know. I'm stretching here, okay? And that's dependent on a lot of different variables. But other than that, I don't know who Cody faces at WrestleMania. They made Seth tough. I'm not saying it's not going to be Seth, but they made it a little tougher. So I don't know. Maybe it's Shinsuke. I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. I know that outside of all of that, it was still a decently big week. The broadcast teams got fully shaken up. Monday Night Raw, we've now got Pat McAfee joining Michael Cole every single week on Monday Night Raw, with Michael Cole on lead announce and Pat McAfee on color commentary. And on SmackDown, we got to take a second to give Corey Graves some props. Corey Graves did an unbelievable job. Let me tell you something. The lead announcer job is an extremely difficult job. And it is completely different from the job of a color commentator. Corey Graves did a job on Friday that he has never done before and is not like the job that he has been doing for years. And as a matter of fact, it's a job that they've had a lot of trouble finding somebody to do. It's a job that Adnan Virk. It's a job that Jimmy Smith. It's a job that Kevin Patrick and many others have tried. And for whatever reason, we're just not able to pull it off, to be that guy who's not only the host of the show, but the traffic cop in terms of making sure that everything that needs to go over that announced system does in terms of television. Every segment gets promoted in and out of break. And then once the match starts, I mean, just think about the amount of words spoken by Corey Graves on SmackDown. Now, it helps that he's got Wade Barrett, who's like an all-timer. We saw him. He did commentary filling in for Booker T as well at Vengeance Day, which, by the way, was a great show. I'll talk about it in a second. Wade Barrett is an incredible color commentator, but for Corey Graves to transition into that role of lead announcer seamlessly as he did, he is one talented dude. All four members of the SmackDown and Raw commentary teams are about as talented as it gets behind those microphones. So hats off to all four guys that did an incredible job on both Monday and Friday. And Barrett, who was also on Sunday at Vengeance Day. I got to jump on and do the pre-show with Megan Morant and Matt Camp, which was a ton of fun. And it was a great show. NXT doesn't miss premium live events ever. But we had a couple of moments that really stuck out to me. Of course, the ending was great. We finally got Trick Williams getting turned on. Trick Williams lost the world title match against Ilya Dragunov. Now, Trick Williams is about as beloved as it gets. Fans love them. Some whoop that Trick Williams. And he did it incredible. It was an incredible match. But then Mello finally turning on Trick. And it was one of those things that you could see it coming a mile away, and it still hit on every cylinder. I thought it was awesome. You had, I feel like a real highlight was Oba Femi. If you're not watching NXT, their North American champion, Oba Femi, if you want to look at what the future is going to look like in WWE on the main roster, look no further. Oba Femi, who has legs that look like tree trunks, just a giant of a man. 6'6", 300 pounds. And here's what I loved about it. He had a match with Dragon Lee, and it was a real match. He wasn't one of these. This guy has very little experience in the ring. And not only is he able to get in there and look the part and whoop people's asses, but he had a real match. He had a match that had some time on it, and he sold. He had to take a lot of offense from Dragon Lee. And that's a lot of times, especially for newer guys that are giants and dominating, that's where their weak points kick in. So, and he didn't, he sold. And he looked great doing it, and the match was great. It was really, really impressive. And then the last thing I wanted to mention about Vengeance Day was Lola Vice cashing in. Lola Vice cashed in her, whatever it was, the breakout star contract in the middle of the women's championship match. And made it a triple threat match between Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez. The reason why that was so good, because people were like, oh, well, she screwed up, like another failed cash-in. That sucks. I don't think it sucked at all, because I think that NXT realized, like, look, we're not going to put the women's championship on Lola Vice this year. So what can we do with this cash in? And when she cashed in her contract, the triple threat took away the disqualification rule. Triple threats by definition are no disqualification. So then Tatum Paxley could interfere on Lyra's behalf without getting disqualified. Lyra gets the pinfall over Lola, and it allows Roxanne, even though she lost the match, to go like, hey, that's BS. There was interference, and, a pinfall I would have had you in that pinfall had the interference not happened, but the triple threat made it possible. So we go to a rematch. Who knows? Maybe we get a cage match at the Roadblock TV special. I don't know, but I thought it was really good. And something to keep your eye on. Rumors circulating that Jacob Fatu is a free agent. MLW's Jacob Fatu True ass member of the bloodline. Awesome, awesome, awesome wrestler. Yeah, I hope he makes it over to WWE because it could make things really, really interesting. Speaking of things getting really, really interesting, it's time to check those emails. Don't forget to join me in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Wednesday, April 3rd. You can go to notsam.com for tickets to that show. I've got to tell you, I don't remember a time that I got more feedback on something. First of all, the views and listens for the emergency podcast that I put out on Friday, through the roof. I appreciate it from all you guys. But I mean, the emails were coming in all weekend long. Like, I'm looking right now, and yeah, there's like well over 50 emails that were just sent today alone. So I'm going to just start going through them. They're all going to be about the same thing probably. So let's see if we can touch on any ground that we haven't touched on. Of course, if you want to email the show, notsamwrestling@gmail.com. Notsamwrestling@gmail.com is the email address. Tommaso writes in, hope all is well. You are my favorite wrestling podcast because of the insight you give, I feel is unique. I appreciate that. I don't know who should beat Roman, but when I imagine him losing, it's like the sins of his past coming back to haunt him, similar to what you said when he turns babyface. They cost him the match or just appear in some way, but not in a cheating way, in a way where they make sure Solo doesn't cheat or interfere. I wonder if you think this would take away from the moment where he loses or would be a good payoff to all the Solo finishes. Well, I do think that Roman will have to pay for his past after. I don't think that'll all come up in one match because the person who beats Roman, be it Cody, be it whoever, it should be the one who really gets that rub. But I do think whoever stops Solo from finally stops Solo from interfering once and for all, that's going to be a hell of a pop. When Solo goes for the interference and it gets interrupted, that's going to be massive. So that's probably its own moment. I mean, look, there is a world where The Rock beats Roman Reigns. Hear me out. I mean, there is a world where The Rock, you've got to remember, is, because it used to be, well, The Rock has to go work after WrestleMania. The Rock's going to go make a movie. The Rock's going to go do this. The Rock's going to go do that. And who knows? He'll still be making movies, and he'll still be, having his own football league and everything. But he's a board member at TKO. He works at the company now, meaning he's far more accessible and far more invested in that product than he ever was before. So there is a version of this where The Rock wins the title. And there is a version of this where Cody ends up beating The Rock for that title. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not saying that would be the best move. I'm just saying that that's not out of the discussion. Sean writes in, I love how great wrestling is right now. The fans have received essentially a daily wrestling show with you. That's true. Dude, go watch the beginning of the NXT Vengeance Day pre-show. Megan Morant, when she introduced me, had to acknowledge the emergency podcasts. The emergency podcasts are a way of life right now. As a fan, I've been watching the product and now want to speculate wildly. That's very good. I love to hear that, Sean. Since everything counts, it really does, Sean. It really does. WrestleMania 10. That's the third rule, by the way. Everything counts. The fan choice. Brett goes over and headlines, not Lex Luger, who Vince wanted to be the new Hulk. Okay. WrestleMania 20. The B word was the fan favorite, even over HBK or Triple H. Yep. 30. Daniel Bryan over Bautista and Randy. I would like to propose a three-way with Cody, Rock, Roman. Rock involved does bring more mainstream attention to the show, and I think enough to get both Roman and Cody over. Cody winning makes him the new Cena, and I don't call Cody the new Cena, and I actually think you can see a face turn for Roman perhaps. Love the show, and thinking I might need to splurge and get tickets this year. I think you should get tickets this year, and while you're there, make sure you go to the live show on Wednesday. Cody is not the new Cena because Cena never had the all-around love that Cody has. Cena never had universal acceptance the way Cody has. Cena was the top guy and had kids cheering for him and some women. Cody has men, women, and children loving him. It's a different thing with Cody. And this did happen. You're 100% right. At WrestleMania 10, at WrestleMania 20, and at WrestleMania 30. But at WrestleMania 10 and WrestleMania 30, they were just in a rough spot. WrestleMania 10, the long-term plan didn't pan out. And WrestleMania 30, they had to fumble. They had to recover as they went. Maybe it's just something that repeats itself every decade or something. I don't know. But it's certainly not something they do on purpose every 10 years. Silos writes in, second-time emailer, I'll get straight to the point. Good. It always amazes me how wrestling fans quickly praise but then demonize someone overnight. Triple H has been on a creative high for nearly 4 years, and now the universe wants to blackball him as if he is the one who is who is buying Cody Rhodes. Maybe bullying? I don't know. He says buying. And then reading online that The Rock is putting himself in the main event of WrestleMania for his ego. Like, what? The Rock gains absolutely nothing. Look, I don't think The Rock is putting himself in the WrestleMania main event for his ego. That's a clearly a narrative that people have created. Nobody who has any inside information is saying that. If you hear that, it's from somebody in their mom's basement who has a not as nice a studio as me in my mom's basement. There is no evidence that The Rock is putting himself in the main event of WrestleMania because of his ego. That's very it doesn't feel like an informed opinion. I would agree with you that the idea that people won't allow this story to unfold at all, because of the sins of the past. Look, the micro of WWE storytelling has been very good. The macro has left us skeptical. I think it's because, while yes, recently the storytelling has been very good, people remember WrestleMania 30. People remember all the John Cena years. People remember Goldberg beating The Fiend. Those things don't go away. But you're right. It's a different person in charge of creative now. Let's go to Avery. What's the haps? Sammy Switzerland. Oh, I guess you were watching the pre-show. Just wanted to know what your thoughts are about underrated city should hold a premium live event. Maybe Phoenix, the home of AEW, this Wednesday, which I will be attending. Phoenix is a good city. Phoenix did my second pay-per-view that I did the pre-show for, was the Elimination Chamber. I want to say in 2017, maybe. And that was in Phoenix. Yeah, I don't know. No, I mean, I don't know. Underrated cities? I don't know. There are a lot of great cities. White Plains, New York. I don't know. Steve writes in, after listening to Cody's promo, it's important to note that he wasn't challenging Roman at WrestleMania, but didn't say any other day. Right. Correct. Since everything counts and nothing is announced for Elimination Chamber, it makes sense that he would challenge Roman at that premium live event. That wouldn't not make sense. It wouldn't not make sense. If Cody takes the title at Elimination Chamber and Rock gets the tribal chief status away from him at WrestleMania, he will essentially take everything away from him since Cody orchestrated the Rock's challenge in the first place. That's not bad. I could easily see Cody winning at Elimination Chamber and Gunther challenging Cody at Mania. I'd probably be the other way around. Drew can challenge Rollins, and we'll have three huge. Okay, so you like my three matches. Those are the same three matches that I said, just different ways of getting there. I'm glad we're on the same page. Also, if they do a wrestling podcast or battle royal at Mania, I could see you pulling the ropes down and watching Rosenberg sail over the top rope to the arena floor. Bam. That's 4 WrestleMania main events. I would do that. I would 100% do that. He's not down with the emergency pod. Keep up the emergency podcast, Sam. I can't get enough emergency podcasts. There's going to be so many emergencies. I'm never going to stop with the emergencies. Never. Yeah, that scenario works, especially if Cody says it's what he wants. Like it's his plan. But maybe he should be involved with The Rock. Maybe he should be at ringside. I don't know. It's complicated, man. Brian writes in, love the podcast. So given how much it seems like the IWC, I don't like when people say the IWC. I mean, most wrestling fans have the internet these days. The IWC was a thing that existed like 10, 12 years ago. The Rock is going, the IWC is irate that The Rock is going for Roman. And also, but it is funny though. Like if you look on the pre-show of Vengeance Day, they were spamming, I guess, the chat while we were talking about the pay-per-view with like, we want Cody, we want Cody. And then people were screen grabbing that going like, oh, they're going to take over Vengeance Day. It's going to be great. They did not take over Vengeance Day. They booed the graphic when it came on screen, but they, cheered for all the other matches. They didn't take over it at all. So it's interesting. But they are, when that graphic came up, they booed it. There was a video of one of the house shows over the weekend where they booed the replay of that segment. So it's not just the IWC. That's making it seem less than. It's being a little bit diminutive. Also, given how Philly is notorious for booing Santa, there's no way The Rock will be the face in that match. Can we expect a full-on face turn for our tribal chief? No, dude. No. P.S. Watching the Vengeance Day kickoff and your disrespect for Clarksville was unnecessary, my friend. I want you to know something about me. It could have been any city in any state in our union, and I would have been disrespectful to them. Which I think you know. But, see, if The Rock is getting booed, Roman might get booed too. Here's another scenario. The last time there was a WrestleMania main event that people just were not into, it was WrestleMania 31, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I'm not saying Damian Priest is going to come in and cash in a la Seth Rollins, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Austin writes in the past, there hasn't really been fans loyal to either Raw or SmackDown. If you watch one, you typically watch both. That's right. But with Raw moving to Netflix, I think that could change. Some people who only use streaming might only watch Raw. Some people who only watch cable might only watch SmackDown. This can make drafts for Raw versus SmackDown PLEs more interesting and important. Yeah, maybe. But, if your loyalty is just based on streaming or cable, I don't know. I just don't. I feel like people will buy both. I feel like people will still be on board for both. I think that's what Netflix is hoping, And they also never want to make one seem better than the other. Like, that's the key to the draft is that, like, you can't really, it's not like you can bury one of your brands. Zeus writes in, I've been watching your pod a little over a year now, and I'm finally emailing you because I cannot get over the hate on this Roman promo on SmackDown. I just started watching WWE 3 years ago, pretty much right before the live crowd came back. Interesting. So maybe I don't know a lot, or am I missing? No, I by the way, I think there are so many guys out there, and girls, people, that haven't been watching wrestling for 100 years like me. There are so many fans in this era that have only been watching for, 3 years, some even less. And I am extremely interested in the opinions of people who haven't been watching year after year after year after year, because I think that fresh perspective is really good for wrestling. Everyone is talking about how the WWE TKO Triple H buried Seth in the World Heavyweight title, but I don't see it that way. Okay, interesting. I did. But, I'm not, I see what you're saying, like WWE, TKO, Triple H. The segment, I thought Roman buried Seth in that segment. From my perspective, that promo was very on the nose for Roman's character in regards to Seth. Roman hates Seth. He's probably the only one Roman doesn't hate out of the whole roster because of their past. I watched the Shield DVDs. Very good. And the fact that Seth has beaten him in every match they counted, so why wouldn't he completely trash Seth and his title reign after his title was called the Hollywood title? Doesn't Roman want to show that he's better than Seth in every way? I'm so much better than you and your title, blah, blah, blah. That's the type of energy. Yeah. P.S. One day when I become big enough, we can sit down and have a conversation about wrestling. That's going to take a lot more than 3 years. I'm kidding. I think the issue is that there wasn't anybody there to defend Seth, and that after all this was said, Cody didn't come out and say, you're wrong, Roman. Cody came out and said, Roman, I want your title, which almost co-signs what Roman was saying. Doesn't fully co-sign it, but almost does. I think that's the issue. It makes sense that Roman would feel that way. But, it's almost like Seth isn't protected the way Roman is protected. Roman as a character is a protected character. So when Seth calls that title the Hollywood title, not really a big deal. Number one, Roman is a heel. Number two, Roman doesn't defend the title. Number three, he's protected. Seth is not protected at all. So, that's, I think, where the difference comes in. Let's see. Well, this is from Gran. The Rock and Roman's long-awaited face-off just happened. I really wanted to be excited watching this, but something was off, and it didn't feel as exciting as it should to most people. Well, okay, I'm going to keep reading. I said it last week. I'll say it this week as well. Cody is the guy. Okay. WrestleMania 40 is the place. Fans' backlash tells you exactly that. So, yes, I still believe Cody will finish the story at WrestleMania. Triple H won't have his WrestleMania 40 main event possibly be ruined by boos. My theory, what happens now? If you noticed, you don't have to say my theory and then also say, so what happens now? I understand that's where your theory is going to begin. If you notice, Cody mentioned that he wants to take everything away from Roman. He wants to destroy Roman from the inside, turning his whole bloodline against him. Now, he didn't say that. By entering Rock into this conversation, you do exactly that. He's there to be the referee in Cody's match. He's there to make sure Roman does it on his own to prove he's the tribal chief. Yeah, but he specifically said, oh, okay, all these mind games will be Roman's weakness. And the quote, not at WrestleMania, was said because he's already started the mind games. Tell me why this wouldn't work. Because it's not mind games to just lie. You can't, make sense of some of the story and then go, oh, yeah, in that last part, I was lying. It is at WrestleMania. That's not a mind game. That's just what? That's lying. It's mind games to have The Rock come out and to have people think I'm going to step aside and let The Rock do this. But for Cody to actually step aside only to say I was lying, because if a character goes, I'm not fighting you at WrestleMania, and then later goes, I was lying, then the next time any character says anything, as fans, we can go, oh, he's probably just lying. People can just lie in their promos now. So maybe that's also just a lie. It takes credibility away from everything that anyone says if the explanation as to why this happened because he was lying. All right. Derek writes in, I've been a wrestling fan my entire life, and I've been following you since Al Gore invented the internet. I appreciate that, man. By the way, that's creepy. We're in a great place. I love the product. My kids love it as well. 3 boys. God bless. Rock versus Roman will be great. I'm a huge Cody fan, but we have to put our feelings aside to see the big picture. Actually, we don't. And a lot of fans would have you believe that we do. We do not. As fans, this is very important. As fans, the big picture is not important. As fans, how the show makes us feel is the only thing that matters. If I'm going to talk to you about business, if I'm going to talk to you about how I make my money, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to do that, then we can have a conversation about the bigger picture. But that's not what this show is. This show is me as a fan talking to you guys as fans. And as fans, we don't have to worry about the bigger picture. As fans, we have to worry about seeing the show that we would like to see. As fans, we have to worry about having fun. And as fans, it is perfectly fair for us to say, well, you had us invest in this, and then it didn't pay off. And now I'm sad face. I predict Roman will reunite the bloodline once he beats The Rock and take his place as the true head of the table and wait until The Rock drops the line. So who do you think Solo sent to protect your title run? Cody will have his moment next year once Roman passes Hogan's reign. Thanks, buddy, and stop reading the same emails every week about the same terrible booking predictions. Wow. I'm trying to set my feelings aside for the bigger picture. I don't know, man. Another year for Cody? It's possible. Roman will reunite the bloodline and take his place as the true head of the table and wait until The Rock drops the line. Who do you think sent Solo to protect your title run? So The Rock sent Solo to protect Roman's title run. and then The Rock tried to beat Roman for the title? I mean, okay. All right. Tucker. First time, long time. I love Drew. His indie run got me back into watching wrestling, and his WCPW promo coming back from injury is one of my favorite promos ever. That's awesome. With the changes to the WrestleMania card, I'm worried Drew isn't going to have a spot that is worthy of his character work right now. How would you book Drew to Mania if he's not in a world title match? If he's not in a world title match, I guess Sammy and build up Sammy. I mean, I don't know. It should be a world title match. I don't know. I think they could do Drew versus Cody. I mean, you could do Drew versus Cody. I mean, that wouldn't be a world title match. You could do that. Sean writes in, I've been loving the faction building going on right now. Feels very early Attitude Era. Gang warfare. I think Lashley and the Profits have a ton of potential, but it really feels like they've just been spinning their wheels and switching between heel and face at random for months now. Instead of throwing B-Fab into the mix, I would love to see them add Jade, Bianca, or even both to the group. I think Jade and Bobby doing Bobby's entrance gimmick together. I think the idea is that they're too big of stars to join that faction. This is Bobby Lashley's faction. So, I mean, Bianca is she's literally going to be at the WrestleMania press conference. She's not even booked for WrestleMania yet. And Jade is like the second coming. So I don't see them joining somebody else's faction at any point. But I think that the Bobby and the Street Profits are officially baby faces. You know, they're feuding with Karrion Kross's heel group. But I think what they really need is a Paul Heyman character for the group to handle the mic work. I don't know. And I think that person should be Big E. I don't know if that's the right vibe. E is sorely missed, and he can never wrestle again. And I was about to say, how do you know? If he can never wrestle again. But why would E manage Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits instead of managing the New Day? Like, his best friends are already a tag team. Why would he be the mic piece for another tag team? Don't work at all for me, buddy. James writes in, loved the live show in Tampa. It was a blast. Thanks, buddy. I hope you're going to be in Philly on Wednesday, April 3rd. Notsam.com for tickets. Quick point on Cody. I understand the fan frustration at seeing him shunted? It says shunted. Out of the Roman match by The Rock. But do you think it could be a good thing for Cody in the long term? I think people need to realize that a big part of Cody's character is the chase. Correct. People want to see him finish the story, but what comes after this? No, I've said this before, that like people, if Cody loses, then the story's over. But if Cody wins, then the story's over as well. That said, you can't just keep extending the story. Like, if a book is really good, you still have to get to the end at some point. You could love the way a book's going, but if the author just keeps sliding in chapters, no matter how good those chapters are, eventually you're going to be like, enough with this book already. Is there ever going to be a payoff? I think a match for the World Heavyweight title could suit Cody really well. It's a title he could win that would elevate him while still leaving him else with something else to chase. But then the whole thing is like, fine. Why tell us that he's going to finish the story at the Royal Rumble? Why go through all that? Why have him point to Roman? Why? Like, that's the problem. I mean, Ultra Boy. Ultra Boy, you write in every single week, and you wrote a 2-page email, and you think I'm going to read the 2-page email on this of all podcasts. I thought I had fantasy book. You do your own podcast, dude. You're crazy. Sorry, bud. Mark Morales Smith. Sam, love your input, and want to know what you think about this wild speculation in terms of long-term storytelling. Full disclosure, I'm not a Cody guy. I think Roman is the right call, even if I don't love exactly how they got them there on Friday, and I'd rather Cody never beat Roman. But, okay, well, I'm glad you pointed out your bias before we read. That's good. Cody said he wants to take everything from Roman. That's part of his story now. What if this all builds to SummerSlam? Roman has been dominating leading up to SummerSlam, winning matches clean. I don't see that ever happening. But at this point, against guys like Seth and Randy. I don't think they're just going to give away the Seth victory like that. Just weeks before Roman passes Hogan, Cody goes into SummerSlam, and with the help from the Bloodline, if they can make it make sense, Cody takes the belt from Roman and takes everything. His title, his record, and a more edgy Cody. I mean, I don't know. Just to avoid confusion, Cody and the Bloodline go their separate ways after, though. So the Bloodline helps Cody, and it's wonky, buddy. It's a little wonky. Plus, you should probably do it at Bash in Berlin. Mark writes in, it's times like this you learn to love again. It's times like this where my fellow wrestling fans get under my skin. Don't ever start thinking you're better than fellow fans. Nobody should ever do that. Not that you do, Mark. I'm just saying in general. I'm saying that as a public service announcement. Everyone keeps saying they changed the main event of WrestleMania and The Rock took Cody's moment. There have not been any announcements about who Roman is going to face. Everyone just assumed that they were going to go with Cody again. I mean, he did win the Royal Rumble and literally point to Roman Reigns in a skybox. And then they said Cody and Roman were going to have a confrontation on SmackDown. To say it's unfair that people... Come on, dude. The Rock versus Roman... And they haven't announced Rock versus Roman Reigns either. So by your own logic, there's more evidence that it's Rock and Cody than there is that it's Rock and Roman. The Rock versus Roman Reigns is a match that fans have been dying to see for years now, but everyone is calling the move a corporate gesture because Rock has been on the board for a few weeks. A few weeks. The WWE has been teasing that this could actually happen for months, and now everyone is shitting on the idea. I get it with everything that's happened, but I truly believe that the WWE's main goal is to give the people what they want to see. And yet fans still find something to bitch and complain about. Dude, don't pretend like they didn't make it seem like Cody was going to face Roman at WrestleMania at Royal Rumble. That happened. You can't say that obviously happened. I think the reaction is a testament to how over Cody is. Yeah. And I'm happy about that. You don't sound too happy. Not many superstars have so much support that putting The Rock in a match could piss off so many people. And that's great for everyone. I hope they use this as fuel for the rivalry. I've written this to all my fellow fans. Shut the hell up. Don't ever tell fans to shut up. Last thing you want is quiet fans. Talk, 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 talk. Make noise in arenas. Put noise in my comments. Get the algo going. Don't listen to this guy. We're finally getting Rock versus Roman. Look, this is my whole thing, okay? I get it. I'm an advocate for Rock versus Roman. I said it before. I want Rock versus Roman. I was a Rock versus Roman guy from weeks ago. I told you Roman wasn't losing at Mania to Cody. I mean, this is not, I'm not like I don't have a horse in this race. But to say that you don't understand why people thought that it was going to be Cody, or to say why you don't understand why people think that Cody's moment was stolen, is disingenuous. The whole premise is that they built it up to seem like it was going to be Cody's moment and then announced The Rock. My thing is, I believe that was done on purpose. Your thing is, that didn't happen. I'm going to go with my thing. But I appreciate the email. Thomas. Let's go. This is a follow-up email to a previous email, but there it is. First time writing, got back into wrestling about 10 years, after about 10 years in 2022. I love this. As the weekend went on, my gut is telling me that we are all getting worked. First of all, people are saying, do you think this is a work? What does that mean? Stop using terminology. Of course. Yeah, do I think that do I think The Rock is legitimately challenging Roman Reigns to a fight, an actual fist fight at WrestleMania? Clearly, this is all. I mean, I don't know what you mean by work. What do you mean work? Yeah, it's a work. It's wrestling. This is wrestling. If you're asking, is this wrestling? Yes, it's wrestling. Of course, we're all getting work. I mean, we're not getting work. We're watching wrestling. What if this is a work? Yeah, it's a work. It's setting up a match for WrestleMania. The Rock tweeted videos from his segment saying that the reaction was undeniable, even thanking Cody in his tweet. I think after Cody won the Rumble, it could have been a predictable build, but they want to throw something at us that would really make everyone feel like Cody won't be in that main event spot. I feel within the next 2 months, he will get his spot in the match, either a triple threat or The Rock involved in some way. What do you think their plan is? And then he follows up, Rock first mentioned on ESPN a couple weeks ago about how he loves the long game. Is this the long? Yeah, I mean, I think there is a long game here. Yes. Yes, I think there is a long game. I think there is a bigger story that is being told. I think this is a part of it. I don't think people are letting the story play out as much as they should. I'm not guaranteeing that you will be satisfied with the result, but I absolutely think that there is a much longer play happening here, and that we should let it at least play out to see exactly where this is going. Because as I said, Rock versus Roman is not the problem. The method of getting there is. Matt writes in, with The Rock versus Roman seemingly in place for WrestleMania, I wonder if Cody may end up putting himself in the story. I'm wondering if Cody may end up putting himself in the story. Even though he handed Roman to The Rock on SmackDown, it may be a good opportunity for Cody to get between the two and somehow turn the match into a triple threat. Developments could happen at the Elimination Chamber leading up to WrestleMania. Cody wins at Mania against even greater odds. Yeah, I mean, again, it has to be, yes, that's a possibility, but you've got to tell a story. You can't have Cody go, yeah, I gave up my WrestleMania match and then I'm going to win it again. He's already won the WrestleMania match. He already won it. So the idea that he has to go to Elimination Chamber and win the thing that he already won is ludicrous. So it has to be something beyond that. What is it? I don't know. Man. Adam writes in, what are the haps? Started listening to your podcast last WrestleMania. I've been watching wrestling for like 3 or 4 years now. I love that. Love the show and its positivity. You should have a live show in Pittsburgh someday. Come to Philly, dude. It's not that far. Do you have any recommendations for past Elimination Chambers to watch before the 2024 Premium Live event? Any favorites? The 2020 Tag Team Elimination Chamber match was really good. The Saudi Elimination Chamber men's match was good. Going back, the one with Edge was good, where he cashed in. There are a lot of good ones. That might take some more time to really think about and unpack. Karen writes in, first-time emailer. Just recently started listening to your podcast with my fiancé, but I've been watching the product and speculating wildly off and on for the past 10 years. Congratulations to you. You've been doing a great job. I caught your theory on Bayley bringing back her wacky, waving Bayley buddies for one night only at WrestleMania 40 and absolutely agree. There you go, Karen. I love the juicy breadcrumbs Bayley and Damage Control have been dropping for the past year, hinting at a break in the faction. Something I've been watching for the past few weeks is Bayley's hair. At her strongest as the leader of Damage Control, she rocked the ultra-sharp, let me talk to your manager, Bob. But lately, as her leadership position has come into question, she started to tie it up on top of her face in a mini high pony. My wild speculation is that Bayley... oh, wow. Pointed to the title, cue the confetti, cue the Bayley buddies. So you're thinking that the ponytail is actually representative of Bayley going back to being the old Bayley. I kind of love that, to tell you the truth. That's kind of fun. Good call, Karen. Let's see. This is from Tim. I'm having a hard time letting them cook. We've seen Cody's situation before. Last year, Sammy was in the hottest storyline, but the Blockbuster Mania match was Cody Roman, so Sammy had to step aside. Well, no, that's not the same thing, because they never made it seem like Sammy was going to go to WrestleMania. Cody won the Royal Rumble. They never made it seem like Sammy was going. So that's not the same thing. Kofi was beloved as champ, but that didn't stop Brock from squashing him. I mean, Cody literally went to WrestleMania and won the title. That's not the same thing. I think Cody just stepping aside without a fight ain't going to look like a punk. Yeah, no, I'm with you. If that's all there is to it, I don't think that that's all there is to it. This one is from Mac. When Cody announced he was not facing Roman at Royal Rumble, he did not say he was facing Seth. I know that. Everything counts, right? Even omissions? 100%. There's no reason to assume that he is. Could Cody have traded his title shot for a later time? Sure. Or could there be something else afoot? Yeah. I'm prepared to let them cook, but I'm not sure I love how it smells. It doesn't always smell so good while it's cooking. But then you go, oh, this is actually quite delicious. Yeah. Let's go to Rabbi. First of all, you're my new favorite pod for recent material. I get that, and I appreciate it. Love your way of thinking. I also love how you pause in between reading these notes and give quick feedback while you're reading. It's a great touch. You're welcome. Thank you. My wild speculation hinges on Royal Rumble 2022, when Roman Reigns choked out Seth Rollins and got disqualified but kept his title. So when we say that everything counts, and Roman says he's beaten everyone fighting for Seth's title, he never beat Seth. And that nugget from 2 years ago still hasn't been paid off, correct? My prediction is Rollins takes time after WrestleMania 40 to heal up. Roman goes over on The Rock, and then Rollins is the one to topple Reigns when he comes back. And what does Cody do? Just sit there? Cody finally faces Seth after Seth beats Roman. This is from Sarlacc. Looks like. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Sarlacc. Huge fan. Thank you for all your insightful, fun reviews and takes. Wanted to make a quick comment about the ending of SmackDown this week. Shocker. I'm shocked at how many fans are jumping to the conclusion about the WrestleMania main event. First, Cody did not say he was challenging Seth, so no decision has been made official. Second, WWE has been way too on fire lately to suddenly not think about how fans may react to Cody's uncharacteristically stepping away from his goal. And lastly, I'm pretty sure a wise wrestling podcaster tells us all the time, let them cook. So much can happen in these next 2 months. Let it play out. And enjoy. Keep the good times rolling, my friend. I appreciate that. I couldn't agree more. Lewis, I'm doing extra emails this week. What if a triple threat for the title, Roman, Cody, and The Rock? Cody pins The Rock, gets the title. That starts with Roman and Rock feud without the title, and Cody finishes the story. Well, I don't think Roman and Rock are going to continue their feud after WrestleMania. That's a long email. Eric, big fan of the podcast. Thank you for all your do. Very soon, The Rock will confront Roman and tell him something to the effect of, I'm a big deal in this company. I've gone to heights our family dynasty that you, Roman, never will. You never will because you're a fighter. You're not a fighter. You barely defend the title. Now I'm demanding you defend the title at Elimination Chamber against the American Nightmare. The Rock says, no longer just a catchy saying. What The Rock says goes now. So you got The Rock as an on-screen authority figure, huh? Okay. Cody wins at Elimination Chamber. Okay, and then we do Rock Roman. Let me see if there's there's just so many emails about this, and they are obviously just pouring through all weekend long. I feel like I'm just gonna go to this one. Isaiah. Because it just says all caps, Sam, I need perspective. I just finished watching SmackDown and can't find the words to describe how I feel. The Rock was my favorite wrestler as a kid, and I actually didn't think I would ever like a wrestler as much as I like The Rock. He was the wrestler that both my dad and I liked and actually brought us closer as father and son in our love of wrestling. Fast forward to 2016, Cody just left the WWE, and I met him at an indie show in my city. He came to the bingo hall with a three-piece suit on and stayed after the show, greeting every fan who wanted to talk to him. I have known a few wrestlers in my life, and I haven't met a wrestler as genuine as Cody. I legit don't know how to feel about this decision by WWE. My heart is broken, and I need your help. What was your biggest wrestling disappointment, and how did you get through it? You want to know how I get through my wrestling disappointments? I do this podcast, and I hope that this podcast helps you get through your disappointments as well. I hope we've shed some light on this. I don't know when the next podcast will be. We'll have one next week, but I'm assuming from between now and then, we're going to end up having another emergency. We got a press conference on Thursday. Who knows what's going to happen on Monday Night Raw? It's going to be absolutely wild. Whenever that does happen, we'll be here. Thank you, everybody.